Greetings fellow Whovians and welcome to Timey Wimey Reviews, where today I will be reviewing the 4-part story Remembrance of the Daleks from the classic era of Doctor Who. This was originally broadcast on BBC One in 1988 as part of the 25th anniversary season of Doctor Who. The reason why I decided to choose this story as my first ever review on this YouTube channel is mainly what happened in Revolution of the Daleks in the New Year's Day special, where we saw the security drone Daleks take on the Daleks. And as much as I enjoyed that, that's nothing compared to the Civil War action that takes place in this story. Just in case you don't know the plot to this story, we follow the 7th Doctor and his new companion Ace back to London in 1963, where a previous incarnation of the Doctor left a very powerful Gallifreyan device known as the Hand of Omega. And now the Daleks have tracked down the Doctor. They want the device to themselves to not only wipe out Gallifrey, but become the Lords of Time. There's not just one Dalek faction to deal with, we have 2 Dalek factions. We have the Renegade Daleks, led by the Supreme Dalek and the Dalek Battle Computer, and we also have the Imperial Daleks, led by the Emperor Dalek. I like that the 7th Doctor has now got a purpose. I dare say he's a bit like Time Lord Victorious, where he's righting the wrongs in space and time, but being a bit of a master manipulator, moving the chess pieces around for the grand scheme of things and making sure that people hopefully don't get killed in the crossfire. And I feel that Sylvester McCoy has some really good moments here, from when he has that chat in the cafe with the cafe owner to the confrontation that he has with the Emperor Dalek towards the end of this story. Some great moments here for Sylvester McCoy. I also feel that we had a really good introduction to Ace, played by Sophie Aldred, as this streetwise teenager with a bit of an attitude, but also had some other things to deal with really in this story. So we have a bit of a teenage crush going on, we have a sense of betrayal, and we also show her toughness when she takes on the Daleks. More of that a little bit later in this review. We also have some very interesting side characters in the form of Group Captain Gilmore and his scientific advisor Rachel. This is a precursor to UNIT, since UNIT is not around in 1963. We also have Sergeant Mike Smith, who has some very questionable values towards the end of this story. We have a mysterious schoolgirl that keeps overseeing all the events being played out. And also we have Mr. Ratcliffe as part of the association. This story can be enjoyed on 2 levels, the first being the underlying themes of race and purity. We have art imitating life in the form of the 2 Dalek factions wiping each other out just because they are slightly different. With the story being set in the early 1960s, we're not that too far removed from the Second World War and some of the ideologies that was going out at the time, with white fascism pretty much being portrayed there by Mr. Ratcliffe, that sadly still exists today. We also have the scene where Ace is staying at a boarding house where she takes off a very questionable sign out of the window. Fun fact, Sylvester McCoy was happening to go past the editorial suite where they were thinking of removing that scene off the episode entirely, and Sylvester McCoy pretty much hard fought and won, thankfully, to keep that scene in there. So good props for him. I feel that these life lessons are very relevant then, being set in the 1960s, being shown in the 1980s, and watching it now, it's still relevant, still needs to be brought out there. The other side to this story is the sheer entertainment value that we get. We have 3 brilliant cliffhangers. We have the Dalek shuttlecraft landing on a school playground. We also have the debut of a Dalek gliding up the stairs. But my favourite out of the 3 was Ace taking on the Daleks, smashing out of a window, hitting them with a baseball bat, and then being surrounded by the Dalek squad while she's holding on to her anti-tank rocket. It's really scary stuff a little bit. I really enjoyed it. It's probably one of my favourite cliffhangers out of the Doctor Who in classic and modern era. Not only that, but we get some very subtle Easter eggs harking back to previous Doctor Who adventures, with this story being set around Coal Hill School and Totters Lane Scrapyard. We also see Ace holding up the French Revolution book, very similar to Susan, and the Doctor recreating a device that he did on Spiridone. I'll let him off with that name there. I'm going to give Remembrance of the Daleks a TARDIS rating of 8 out of 10. It's a great story, lots of action, lots of explosions, really fast pacing, some fantastic battles with the Renegade Daleks and the Imperial Daleks, especially when the Special Weapons Dalek comes into play. If you haven't seen any classic Doctor Who before, I think this is one of the good places to start, especially if you hadn't had enough of your Dalek fix from the New Year's Day special. Thank you very much for watching Timey Wimey Reviews. Let me know in the comments below what you think of Remembrance of the Daleks and what other stories or episodes that I should review in the classic or modern era of Doctor Who. I also want to say a massive thank you to the kind comments and support that you've given me already on the YouTube channel from my previous videos. That's really touching. I really appreciate it. Next time on Timey Wimey Reviews, I'm going to take one of your suggestions and show you what's going on behind me here with my Doctor Who memorabilia collection. Until then, like the video, share the video and subscribe to the channel. And as the good doctor once said, good place to put things, sellers.